So we shall begin the talk, and it's called Searching for Enlightenment. So I presume that most of you here at one point or another have been searching for enlightenment. Maybe maybe you've given up that idea from all the talks that you've listened to and all the processes you've been through, but maybe still some of you have this idea of enlightenment, which is so dramatic. I think originally when I first got into this subject, I was attracted to enlightenment because it was like a superpower. It was like becoming a superhero. I read this book from a Buddhist nun who told all these stories of walking through walls, of slowing her mind down so much that she could go back in time and listen to a Buddhist sermon. Yeah, all types of magic. And I was like, yeah, I want some of that. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Yeah. Seeking enlightenment. And then as you begin to go onto this path and go down the rabbit hole of enlightenment, then all your ideas begin to be challenged. And all your notions about this idea enlightenment begin to be challenged. First off, maybe we need to establish an idea of what enlightenment is. So every teacher has different views on what enlightenment is. Ramesh Balsekar used to say, enlightenment is not a certified event, which I thought was very beautiful. You can't get a certificate in enlightenment, although some schools do try to do some sort of enlightenment certificate. You're stamped. You have the mark. And some try to give out levels of enlightenment that you've achieved. And for a lot of people, enlightenment remains this far-off thing that only very popular gurus have, or very aesthetic sages. And so I have a unique view on what enlightenment is, which is so different from other people's view of enlightenment. A lot of people have the idea that enlightenment is about personal enlightenment, that you go through a transformation and that your personality changes and you as a person become enlightened. Whereas that's not my view. My view is that there is a transformation that happens that's impersonal. There is a shift of energy, and you could call it an energetic shift from being a personal person who's experiencing, to everything experiencing, or nothing experiencing. Or if we want to call it consciousness experiencing. And that in itself shifts the person and changes the person. But the person doesn't become enlightened. So maybe I need to say what the person is. So to me, the person is a combination of genetics and conditions. So what you've genetically inherited and the conditions that you've experienced in this life. And when that shift happens, there is a transformation. And normally prior to that shift, the person goes through a transformation. And then after the shift, they go through more transformation. But the person is a never-ending phenomena that is always changing and evolving. And in a way, it's not something that actually exists. It's habits and conditions that are moving and evolving continuously. So it's never still enough to capture. It's like a movement, and it's always in flux. Just like everything in this world. So in a way, you could also say there isn't actually a person there. Ever. So the person can never awaken. And that shift, you could call going home. Like that movement is going home. Like prior to that shift, there's always a part of you that feels like you're not at home. And then after that shift, that which is experiencing is deeply at home. Hello. So it's deeply at home. And it's not a personal thing, it's beyond the personal. It's that which is experiencing now isn't a person. That which is experiencing now is infinite. It's no thing and all things. It doesn't belong to someone. So you think that you're looking at me, and you think that that person that's looking has arrived from the past and is going into the future. Whereas that's the dream. That's happening in your thoughts and your imagination. There is something prior to that, which watches that, which never moves. And is not a thing, and all things. And that person isn't actually alive. So it feels like that person's alive, and the thoughts say that person's alive, but that's like a computer program running in something that's much deeper. This empty looking. And there's also this I am, but not I am something. The I am, you could say, is love. It's like beingness. And this consciousness and this beingness, this I am, are one and the same thing. And if you really went deep into it, you'd begin to realize even those concepts disappear. And it's beyond all words. It's total mystery. But when we're speaking about it, there is ways in which it can be spoken of, and then even that's let go of. Like simplified ways to speak about it. More simple. And there's two listenings that happen. There's the listening from the mind, which has relevance, that will recondition the mind, recondition the body. But then there's a deeper listening that's happening. And that's not really a listening. That is something recognizing itself. And that's beyond the person. The person is a phenomena that's being watched. Even the personal awareness is being watched. So when you move your attention to this moment, that's still in the personal world. It's known, so therefore it's in the personal world. Something knows that activity. Something knows the activity of the one that's thinking about it, the one that recognizes it. You are that freedom. So there's two different things that will be happening now. The mind wants to hold on to something. So the mind wants to be fed or wants to be entertained. And that's not a problem. But in that mind activity, there can be something called seeking. And what seeking means to me is the pursuit of freedom in an activity. So freedom is the watching, and the seeking is a pursuit of that freedom in the activity. So the mind is looking to the words to find some form of relief. And it might give you momentarily relief. Yeah, you can have like these mental orgasms, or you understand something better, and it's like, and the seeking drops away. But it's not actually that satisfactory, because the seeking comes back and it has an agitation in it. So there's not a contentment with being here. You're trying to zone out, or you're trying to get to somewhere else, or you're trying to not feel. So you're trying to drift off somewhere else. So then there's another type of listening, which is beyond that, which is a recognition of self meet self. And that's deeply relaxing. And you might have moments of it, and then moments of contraction, moments of it and moments of contraction. And all of that is okay. It's just pointing it out. Just recognizing it all. So the searching for enlightenment in this moment is actually, most of the time, a searching to not be here. It's a hope and an imagination to be something else than what you are. So it's this activity of living in time, this idea of enlightenment that you are going to get to now, or tomorrow, or next week, in 2 years. And that can give you great bliss and great highs. And that can also make you feel like a failure, incapable, incompetent, not enough. And it will more than likely oscillate between those different worlds. I got it, I lost it, I got it, I lost it. And then there is something else that's resonating beyond that, that never leaves, that's not seeking, that's not wanting, that doesn't need something. It's right here. And you could call that love. It's crystal clear. It is what's looking now. It is what's looking now. It is. It's what's doing everything. It's what's creating the speaking. It's what's creating the sounds. It's what's creating everything. And I don't have it any more than you. This isn't something you pay to get off of me. Everybody has the same amount and is the same amount of consciousness. Ramesh Balsekar always used to say, it's the birthright. And it really is the birthright. Perfect, brilliant stillness. It's so deep. It's wonderful. Okay, so let's go to questions. So just a reminder about questions. So if you want to call in, then you do so through Skype. My Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12. And remember to have a headset with a microphone. And remember to be clear before you call what you want to talk about. So what I'm looking for in questions is a question or a little bit of exploring of your experience, or exploring of a seeking dynamic. And when I say exploring of your experience, I mean exploring it in order for me to speak about that. Yeah. I just say that to try and make the questions crisp and precise and to the point.